Okay, let me tell you right now, all these entitled pieces of shit on the left that think, okay, number one, people like Kamala Harris is going to get in. No, she's not. Because no one likes the fact that cannabis has been legalized, except for junkies and drug users of cannabis. The rest of the normal world can't stand it. Her bullshit of leave, what was it? Leave Nana's medical marijuana alone. There's no proof that it's had any medical benefits at all. Right. So let me tell you, all those people that are on a database that actually are junkies of cannabis, you're on a database. So I'll tell you how I've been dragged into being someone that everybody believes is accepting of drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It's because my scummy piece of shit mother, that one reason I have nothing to do with her, and I never have been close to my mother. She is a piece of shit, an absolute piece of shit. This has everything to do with her second husband. So her second husband, Mark Rackley. My father is her first husband, Mark Fleming. Now, I've been saying this since 2017 when people like Deb Mears from Tamworth. Oh, look, I'm probably sure that even the idiots in the building where I currently live, which are from New England, Heidi and Frank Jones, would know something to do with anybody from that area of New England knows my stepfather's family. Even my dad's side, here's a great thing. My dad's sisters, so my Aunt Linda and my Aunt Sharon and their children, they were never in my life growing up. They weren't even in our life when my parents were married, and my parents divorced in the 80s. They were married in 1977. They weren't really. There's a divide right through the family where Dad was closer to Auntie Sandra. The other two brothers, I think they were closer. The other two sisters were closer. So there was a divide always in the family. And I'm not going to talk on to this. I can talk further on that another time. But so those cousins don't even know what high school I went to. They have no idea. I only saw them at Aunt Sandra's funeral in 2001, then reconnected at Nan's funeral in October 2007, then only started keeping in touch after December 2008. So they don't know. And where they've moved to in areas and so forth, like you've got people that knew my stepfather's family. Here's what I've brought up again several times. Daniel Rackley, my stepbrother. So my stepfather, Mark Rackley, from his first marriage in South Australia, had his son Daniel Rackley, daughter Belinda Rackley, Kimberly Rackley, and Michelle Rackley. But for memory, Michelle's not his blood related daughter. His wife was pregnant with Michelle or something. I don't know. Anyway, then from my mother had Jade Rackley and Faith Rackley. I'm not related to the Rackleys. That's only through marriage. So my mother separated in 94, divorced in 95. Now, Daniel Rackley lived in Tamworth. Daniel Rackley affiliated with nurses, the nurses at the Freemason Nursing Home, the same as his father did. Daniel and Mark Rackley, I'm sure Daniel Rackley's exactly like his father. So Mark Rackley's a cannabis smoking, massive, huge in cannabis, which I find hilarious considering his brother, Peter Rackley, was a detective for the drug squad in Parramatta. So I find it really hilarious that Mark Rackley is massive in drugs, his brother, and Peter Rackley was a detective in Parramatta, his brother. So anyway, and Peter Rackley was married to, what was his wife's name? Because I had Erin Rackley, and this is my step family. Erin Rackley and Brooke Rackley. Is it Brooke and Erin? Yeah, Brooke Rackley and Erin Rackley, and that was Kerry Rackley, their mother. Yeah, not saying. I mean, they're nicer than Mark Rackley, but still, it's still Rackleys. I'm not related. So Daniel Rackley's a low life scummy. Same behaviour. And Faith Rackley's got the same behaviour. They're drugs and alcohol, mental health issues, suicide, depression. That's what they have. Mark Rackley was the same. Daniel Rackley was the same. Daniel Rackley affiliated with the same organisations, bikie gang members, rebels, bikie gang members of Tamworth, the drug dealers, drug users of Tamworth, New England area, the Freemason nursing home called Midby House. Daniel Rackley practically lived there, which is where it's weird because some Emma Fields knew him, or his her mother knew him, and so knew my stepbrother and my stepfather. So did um, next door to a lady called Nicolette Jones. Nicolette Jones, who moved from, so here's the rumor I got. So Nicolette Jones' neighbor, I think his name was Tribe. That was Shane Charles, my mum's nephew's good friend, that he used to get his cannabis off, and so did Mark Rackley, and so did Daniel Rackley. And I heard that Nicolette Jones got knocked up by Shane Charles' friend, this Tribe guy, and she ran off to Picton. And lo and behold, who would move down to the Picton area? Dad's younger sister, Aunt Linda and Uncle Tony. Yeah, so this is where I always see, this is the problem. I don't want anything to do with my mother's side of the family, because every single time I'm near anyone, whether it's my twin sister, my half sister, the little scummy piece of shit, Faith Rackley, my mother's sisters, I get dragged into whatever bullshit has gone on where they live. Okay, I get dragged into it. I'm like, it's nothing to do with me. This is nothing to fucking do with me. I'm sick of this. And be like, oh, it's Justin. I'm like, yeah, Justin Fleming. You know the behaviour of Daniel Rackley, and someone else, you know the behaviour of Shane Charles. Don't fucking drag me into this shit. I barely lived in this area for 6 years when my mother moved there, and I'm not ever having anything to do with that area. As far as I'm concerned, it's the most scummiest piece of shit people you'd ever meet in your entire life. So don't drag me into it. I was barely here for 6 years. And every single time, and I used to Nan, if Nan was still alive, she knows. And Nan used to always say, you're their whipping post, or, they make use of you. Just bite your tongue and keep the peace while I'm alive. When I'm dead, you'll never have to see him again. I'm like, Nan, I always am dragged into some trouble because of your daughters. If I'm hearing 1 minute I'm getting accused of being this type of character, it's like, no, Daniel Rackley. Or, my cousin, the lowlife Shane Charles. Anyway, this is why I get dragged into this. Because of these scummy people, and I won't ever have my mother in my life. My nan's dead. Thank God, I don't ever have to see my mother or sisters again. I don't ever have to have anything to do with my sisters again. Okay? They were told several times, get the fuck out of the area where you live. Sell and move, thanks. I won't have anything to do with you. Because your behaviour, your second husband's behaviour, your stepson's behaviour, your nephew's behaviour, if I'm affiliated with you, I get dragged into bullshit, and I hate it. So I have always been anti-drugs and alcohol. I have barely drunk in alcohol in my life, and people can say, oh, you got to let go and move on. That's to do with your stepfather. No, it isn't. It's just to do with common decency. I've barely drunk alcohol in my life. So, no. Never, ever been a drinker. Never been a drug user. Won't put up with it, but every single time I'm tagged into that group of people, that's what happens. Now, Dad's side again, Aunt Linda, Aunt Sharon's children, they don't know anything about me. Nothing about me at all. Nothing. And when there's projections from where Mum moved to from Sydney, there's always projections to do with this bullshit. I'm sick of it. So the same thing with that Belinda Jeffries. And here's the other thing. I have grown up being a snob. I was raised by my grandparents, my great-grandmother, and my great-uncle. Now, they're not alive to back it up, but I'll back it up, thanks. I can speak for myself. I don't need some scummy pieces of shit women like my mother and her sisters. And as for the green card, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fucking shit after the last 9 years. I am not going to jump through fucking hoops for immigration. As far as I'm concerned, you watch me the biggest anti-immigration person you would ever meet in your entire life. That's in or out of Australia now after this bullshit. You fucking watch me. I can't wait for Trump to get in, because Trump, anti-drugs. You're not going to have cannabis anymore. And once this little scummy piece of fucking shit who I can't stand is Anthony Albanese gets out, they start doing exactly what John Howard did, which was the best thing for Australia, deporting people back to where they came from. Okay, best thing. Bring someone tough like John Howard back. No drugs. And the best thing I love about Australia, by the way, for people who think that cannabis is, it's legalized in Australia, no, it's not. You still go to jail for cannabis, which is the best thing. And I love the fact. So when I'm getting my haircut and treatment in late 2013, I'm meeting a hairdresser for the first time. Oh, I'm Wunny. They call me Wunny and Busy Bee. Oh, you can be Juzzy J. Oh, I'm building an empire. And oh, Juzzy, you look like a rock star. Oh, I get cocaine delivered here. Oh, I do this and I do that. I'm sitting there thinking, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously, I'm sitting there thinking, are you fucking kidding me? Wow, you're just going to be so open with that. You don't know me from a bar of soap. And you think that I'm, you know, okay with that. Oh, by the way, Anthony Toomer, who's massive. Anthony Toomer, if you heat up icing sugar in the microwave, it goes sticky like sugar syrup. Just letting you know. Yeah. So if you put icing sugar in the microwave, it goes sticky like sugar syrup because when you heat sugar. Yeah. And what does icing sugar look like? Yeah. So yeah, I can be the biggest cunt because guess what? So like I've said, and I'm not backing down from this. You can have a good hard look because I am telling the truth. I won't be called a liar. For an example, on Friday the 30th of September, 2016, all anyone has to do is really have a good hard look from Belinda Jeffries' phone number. Belinda Jeffries born the 30th of September. By the way, but you can have a good look from her phone number records from 0419639059 and what her drug dealing friend was back in those days, which was Ush on 0474 666 and you can even have a look at Friday the 20th of May as well in 2016. Oh yeah, I did check the dates. Or even Anthony Toomer's with those as well from 0424260926. Now, just remember that these people, especially the Toomers, not going to be liking that would come out. Yeah, of course not. So good. Because then when some little scumbag lying piece of shit mother of mine who wanted to project her second husband's family into my life, so whatever scam she was doing, and then I deliberately set out to, make fun of people from 2016 to 2018, which I did, especially when I was getting harassed by wankers from Tamworth. Oh, across social media as well. Yeah. See, I don't put up with scumbags from New England. I don't. Especially even if I had a group of friends there, which I did, a small group of friends when I was briefly there for only 6 years. Yeah, I don't put up with scummy pieces of shit from New England, especially with the bullshit behaviour that these entitled people think that they can do. And I don't. I mean, I had enough of Deb Mears, who's from Marius Street in Tamworth, and Michael Long. Michael Long was some alcoholic, obese guy. You can see him in a photograph down Peel Street in Tamworth with his son Bryson next to him in a hot rod. Yeah. And then suddenly he changed his life around and found whatever he found and lost all this weight. Well, I was actually thin and toned and healthy until these people started involving themselves in my life. These little scummy pieces of shit people from New England. I still find it, I can't believe that the area I live in, I've got to pay to be around these people like Frank and Heidi Jones. I can't fucking believe it. I had like I said, briefly, would anyone even remember me? Because the last time I had anything to do with any of these people was 1995. And my mother moved to that area in April 1989. So the week of our 10th birthday. And how this came about as well, just remember this. My mother remarried in 1988 to Mark Rackley. Her father, Reg Purdy, didn't approve at all, which no one would. And he was going to kill him. He was. There's a story behind that, which I'm not going to actually get onto now because it's going to take too long. But yeah, so he was hiding out in Cola River, and then they were he was reading a newspaper about Tamworth, and he wanted to go there for a holiday. So my mother and him went there for a weekend holiday. My mother bought a house the same weekend. She was there for a weekend holiday. That's exactly how it happened. They went there for a weekend holiday and brought a house. That's what she did. She bought a house. Then came back to Sydney and was like, well, what am I going to do? I've got 2 houses. Yeah. So, and he wanted to move there because he was like, oh, it reminds him of Adelaide. Oh, I love it. It reminds me of Adelaide. Fucking loser. That's where he had his first family. So it was almost like, so my mother was moving there to repeat her second husband's, life that he had with his first family. Like, you're a fucking loser. I don't want anything to do with her. Like, I had to affiliate with my mother because of my nan. And I vowed, she was told so many times. Look, everybody was told, even as soon as Pop died, because I was in November 2002. I said to Nan, that's it. I nursed Pop in Concord Hospital. He died in my arms. Nan said, take me out for cigarettes. So we went out to that garden area downstairs in Concord Hospital. And Nan had a cigarette. She goes, I need you to move back home to Blacktown. I was living in Manly at the time. She goes, because my daughters are going to make me move. No, I won't. She goes, and Nan, that was the first thing that Nan said was to me, Justin, they're going to force me to move now. Like, Nan was terrified. She goes, I don't want to move. They're going to force me to move to where they live. And so I moved there for a year. And they actually did force her. I wasn't even there a year, and they actually got what they wanted. My first comment to Nan was, I can't be around you anymore because Pop's not here to keep them in line. That was my first. Pop just died. My Nan, Pop's wife's first comment to me was, I need you to move from Manly back out to the suburbs because my daughters are going to force me to move to where they live. So her husband just died. That's exactly what my Nan said. Her first comment. My first comment to my Nan was after my Pop just died was, I can't be around now that Pop's not here to put your daughters in place. That's exactly shows you what bullies those three women are. They are disgusting bullies. And believe me when I tell you that I hate their guts, the three of them. I hate them so much that there is no one else alive that if you could sum up the hatred I have for those three women and put it on anybody else. And that shows you their bully behavior their entire life. They're just horrible bullies is what they are. They're just bullies. Big, fat, ugly, useless bullies of women. They're not nice people. They've never been nice people. They're people that in my life growing up, you've got nothing. Like, you have to put up with them. They're horrible people. And if you think back to November 2002, that was the conversation. That was it. Like, first thing my Nan said, she's there having a cigarette after her husband just died. And the first thing she said was, I need you to move from Manly back to the suburb, like back to Blacktown. Because like Nan wanted me there living with her. I felt so sorry for Nan. And because her daughters were going to force her to move. She goes, Justin, they'll force me to move. She was petrified. She was petrified of her daughters and they got what she wanted. You know what? When they did force her to move, my Nan was wailing to me in her arms. I didn't see my Nan cry that hard when Pop died. She was crying. She was wailing in my arms. She said she had no choice because Marianne forced her. That fat, bully little bitch, Marianne. I hate her fucking guts. I hate her. I hate her so fucking much you wouldn't believe. And the other worst one, Robin Childs. The one that works for the window licking organisation and her daughter, Christy Childs. The little fucking window licking scammers. I hate them. I hate them like you wouldn't believe. I hate their fucking guts like you wouldn't believe. And this is going right back through our life. Hate them because of their behaviour. They're just fat bullies is what they are. Big fat fucking bullies. And that's what they are. Robin, and this is the truth. So I'm still living in Manly at this stage. Like Pop had passed away. It's 2003 because I said to Nan, look, I'll move out there. I'll renovate the harness shed. So I'll extend the back of the house at Nan's, which I paid for, that extension. So redoing all the harness shed up and extending the back of the house, I paid for. That was my money. I never got into that back when Nan sold the house. So all that, what that cost me, Marion and you little fucking scamming bitches, you can give me that money back. You're going to be smart asses. So I paid for that extension. Anyway, so I'm still living in Manly. And, 2003, so Pop passed away in November 2002. And I've been told to come out there. There's been a massive big fight. Denny, which is Mum's brother, Robin and Marianne's brother, pushed Robin through the back taller, so the taller off the like this little sunroom area door. Like there's been a massive big punch up and fight. So I'm going out from the city to the suburbs, and on my way, Robin said, "I'll meet me at Bo's in Main Street, and I'll explain to you what's just happened." So I'm there, and now I've never been close to Denny. Robin Child's son was close to Denny, and I've never liked him. I thought he was a bit of weird mountain man. So never liked him. So I'm not going to take his side for anything. Basically, I'm always going to take anyone else's side. If they say something against Denny, I'm like, yep, I'm on their side because I never liked him. Not for anything. He never did anything to me wrong. I just don't know him growing up, and he was closer to Shane Childs, and we had nothing in common. I'm arty and theatre and did modelling as an after-school activity, and he's someone that goes camping, involved in wildlife and hunting and things like that. So yeah, nothing in common. He had more in common with my cousin Shane Childs, which is why Shane and him were thick as thieves. Anyway, so I'm going to meet Robin at Bo's in Main Street, Blacktown, and she's like, "Oh, you know what Denny's like, Justin? This is what happened," and I'm furious. I'm sticking up for Robin, even like if I had to pick, like even if I was fighting with Robin, I had to pick between Denny and Robin, I would stick up for Robin, and that's what I would. And I'm still going, "Oh, fucking Denny, what an asshole!" Like, really. And so Robin said, "Oh, this is what happened," and so forth. Anyway, so I get out to Nan's. Nan calls me into the bedroom. She goes, "What did my daughter say?" Basically, and I said, she goes, "That's not true, Justin. Denny was sticking up for me. They want me to sell the house." That's what Nan said. I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, they came down here. They were forcing me to sell the house. Denny had been listening to it all day, had enough of it, told him to piss off. Robin was drunk, and the fight started. And Denny said, 'You're not going to sell my father's house,' and pushed Robin." And I like, "What has happened?" She goes, "They're bullies." And Nans goes, "I'm not lying. It's not Denny's fault. Denny was sticking up for me. They came down here forcing me to sell the house." And that did it for me. I was like, I just spent, an hour at Bo's, having a long suit with sis and whatever, sitting there, and she's there, like giving me this big sob story, knowing I'll believe it because I've always defended them. And Nan wouldn't lie. And Nan goes, "No, that's not what happened at all. Denny was defending me. They're trying to make me sell the house. So can you basically hurry up and move?" So yeah. So then I moved in there. So, and they had to bring up that's right. Nan said they brought up how much was the extension costing. And Nan said, "It's none of your business. That's Justin's money." Because it was. My money paid for the extension. But the extension added value to the house. But guess who got that? The fat little fucking daughters. Yeah. So I paid for the extension of the house. Anyway, and it was constant trouble after that from Marianne. And so, like, they showed their true colours as soon as Pop died. It's like, I get fucked. Not like I didn't know before. So, yeah. So all this bullshit the last 9 years, it's like, oh, what, you think it's just the last 9 years? Or you think it's just since 2013? We can go right back to 2002 if you want, or let's go right back to the 90s, or let's go right back to before I was born. Because this arguing has been going on for a lot longer than everybody thinks. This is going right back to 70 years worth. Yeah, I'm sick of it. But I'm the new whipping post. Who can they freaking start on this time? They're just 3 bullies of women, is what they are. Bullies. That's all they are. Back to the initial what I was saying with this. So I'm not going to back down. Like I said, that just shows what I've gone through in my life, where I'm hard and thick-skinned, and I don't care. I do not care. I'm not backing down being lied about. I'm not backing down where some little scubby Greek scrubber try to jump into whatever scams are going on the last 9 years. People are looking at what I had, through social media. It's like, yeah, what I had, like my money, my assets, my belongings. Didn't come for anything sinister. I worked hard for this. I'm not involved in drugs or alcohol or anything like that, but I keep getting dragged into it. And the only reason why I keep getting dragged into it is the confusion between myself and my family, the Fleming side, and my mother and her second husband's family, the Rackley side. That's the only reason. That is the only reason, really, because, why? Do I look like that type of character? I can't help the way I look. So thank you for making me even more self-conscious. I can't help the way I look. I look the way I look. That's it. That's it. I can't change the way I look and be some blue-eyed, blonde-haired, clean-cut looking person. I look the way I look, so apparently, because I look like this type of character, it's like, well, you're no good judge of character, you know. So I can't change the way I look. So thank you for making me feel even more self-conscious, because apparently I look like the character of that person. That would be like that. I'm like, great. Well, thank you. As if I wasn't self-conscious before. Now I'm definitely self-conscious. But yeah, so I have got several toxicology reports from the period of 2015 to 2018 that actually overlap. My doctors know I don't use drugs. It's there on records. Not even involved in that. I would never be involved in criminal behavior like that. And here's the other thing. I love when people are looking at how much money I had. And they're like, well, where does he get it from? Where's it? And these are criminals. It's like, where do I get it from? I was working for Star Casino for almost 10 years, and my salary package was $47,730 a year. And I did do side jobs, and I can easily back that up. Jeff from the Tough and Glass Company, the maintenance, I can back all this up. What else is there? The assets and belongings I already had before I was mugged after work. I mean, this was all brought up because people thought I accumulated this afterwards. It's like, no, you can see that in photos. There's photos of the party that I had at my place in December 2008. So we're talking about just a year after I was mugged and on part salary payment. You can see the photos there, but you can also see the photos of the place before that. You can see the videos. You can see all the fact that I had all my jewelry, assets and belongings. Sports cars. And you can see the fact that there is my salary package. This is just a fishing expedition online about me. And I love how freaking government departments got into it. It's like, wow, you're useless. You really are bogan ochre Australians, which don't know your ass from your elbow. So, yeah, Christ. Oh, and the bullshit to do. So I'm just looking at my hair because I tied it back to the video. Yeah, I still get the freaking crap over my hair being frizzy. It's like, yes, but my hair was always like a bird's nest. It's always been frizzy since I grew up from being a toddler. Oh, and that's the other thing, where idiots have made up stories going, oh, he's sharing photos of kids on his social media. It's like, and? Because one of the biggest things with Star Casino when they were trying to discredit me and slander me, and they did, preventing me from returning back to work. Because remember, they're the ones that stopped me going back to my work at. Remember that? They're the ones. They stopped me going back to my job. What was it? Where they slandered me through social media. One of the things was that I had photos of myself skinny dipping in a swimming pool on social media. Okay. And they're, we've discredited me. They were like, oh, look, this is what he's doing since he was mugged. He's meant to be resting, recovering, he's off socializing, skinny dipping in a swimming pool. It's like, and this actually went into the workers' commission or whatever it was. But that's what they were doing to me. They were discrediting me the entire time, so it's preventing me from returning to my job. As soon as I was mugged after work, that's what they did. The Star Casino set out to completely destroy my credibility. And they've done this since I was mugged, so they don't have to pay. And everyone sat back and let them. Every organisation asked for help, including disability organisations, because if I didn't fall under mentally retarded organisations, then they're not going to help. And then if I try to use an organisation to help and I don't, they don't get what they want, they're going to, discriminate against me. It's like, because you're an organisation that's not getting what you want, so you're not going to help. That's not how the world should be working. That's so horrible. And that's what I was facing. It's like, so you're one organization that's specific to what you want to promote and, get your funded money for. You're not going to help me because, instead you're going to discriminate against me. This is what I was facing. And they did. So skinny dipping in a swimming pool. Okay. Let me tell you when the photos were taken when I was skinny dipping in the swimming pool. Late 2004. It was the end of 2004, early 2005 summer. Yeah, they weren't taken. That's the thing. These photos were not taken after I was mugged. Okay? Because I was mugged November 30, 2007. The photos of me skinny dipping in the swimming pool, they were taken when I was at Stephanie DeSalas, when I first met her in late 2004, January 2005 summer. those photos of me skinny dipping in a swimming pool was taken. I was like when we were hanging out from the coffee shop that day. I went from the coffee shop that day to Brighton. Yeah, okay, that's when they were taken. So years before I was mugged, but the casino discredited, like they slandered me with those photos. And the other one, number two, um, I had a really rough time, and Giovanni run me a bubble bath. Actually, it was really nice. I was stressed out, and it was in that old big green bathtub in Surrey Hills that I loved. It was a big soaker, and I went into the bathroom and saw it. I took photos of it, and I was like, "Oh, I've got bath oils, bath bombs, and bubble bath and candles." I said, "This, relaxing bubble bath." I said, "Who's going to come and join me?" And my cousin Joan said, "Oh, that looks great. I'm going to come and join you." But it was. I was just a comment on social media, and that was my cousin Joan. Anyway, the Indian bastard that was discrediting me, and I've got his details still. Shane, I've got it there saved. I've saved everything. Um, he said, and he bars with other people, basically saying I deserve to be mugged after work because. So they set out to completely discredit me. And now, when I've said to people like my mother and everybody, I don't need you sticking your nose into this. I need a good solicitor. You want to help? Then I need a good solicitor. And that's where the note on the back of an envelope, that's what that meant. Because I just had another hell of a time. So Giovanni does know. This is why I kept getting pissed off with Giovanni when he was always involving people. I was like, don't involve people. All I need is a better solicitor. Don't involve people. The more people you involve, the more trouble you're going to cause. Don't involve people. Okay? You involve people. You're told not to involve people. Don't involve people. You were always told to never involve people. This is a sensitive matter. Don't involve people. You have to involve people. It's your fucking Mormon, born-again Christian, Jehovah's Witness nature. Don't involve people. Don't involve people. You ever heard of the saying that too many cooks spoil the broth? Too many people cause trouble. You don't learn from that. You don't involve people. And so back when I had a horrible, and because remember early on when I'm trying to recover from being mugged, there was a lot of damages. The damages have subsided now. Of course, they've subsided and they're less now because I was mugged years ago. So they're a lot less now than what they were years ago because time has passed. So this thing, when we come back from a medical legal appointment, he, I was so upset and drained from it, and we both were drained. That's why he initially started accepting the carer's pension, and I from it because of being my partner. But he wasn't a carer, so I kept saying he's not a carer. Sorry, he wasn't accepting carer's pension. He was accepting a carer's allowance because it was draining him as my partner. But it's like, okay, but you are my partner. You don't get paid for doing what anyone's partner would do. That's draining you. That appointment we just went to, that medical legal, that drains you, right? Then stop being so narcissist, thinking about yourself and thinking about what that's done to me, because this is about my life. What that appointment's doing is about me. So if you think that drained you and upset you, imagine what it's doing to the person themselves, me. Because that appointment that we just had was to do with me. Don't be such a narcissist. I mean, he's a real narcissist. So, as you look right down on the back of the envelope, it was a Wednesday or Thursday in 2010 or 2011, and it said right down on the back of the envelope how that made you feel, and so I did, and I put on about my family never help. They don't help. They always say they're going to help, and it's like, and the only thing that it was to help with was a solicitor. They're always whinging, going, you want to get yourself a better solicitor with what this is going on to you, what it's doing to you. And I'm like, well, you all work in law firms. You've got no one that you can help with. Like, you're great at shooting your mouth off. Like my mother, you're real great at shooting your mouth off. And that's it. Yeah, I said, I'm getting discredited, my life destroyed, getting dragged for the concrete. And you can't help except, yell and scream, which is all they're good for. It's like, so don't bother. And so yeah, so that wasn't there was this letter that was then twisted to be suicidal. It's like that wasn't suicidal. Giovanni was next to me when I wrote it. He sat so you don't so the person doesn't sit next to you while you're writing the suicide note. That's why I was really pissed off. I'm like, I can't believe Giovanni kept that letter and twisted it to be sinister. Because what actually did happen was with that, he did. Well, like he said, where's your diary? Like we'll put it in your diary note. And I couldn't find it, so just write on this. So he sat next to me. I was at the dining table in Surrey Hills, and he sat next to me while I was writing it. He said, "We'll put date and sign it, and when we find your diary, we'll put it into your diary." So we've got the as a diary note. So it wasn't a suicide letter. Next, years later, I'm finding out that it was twisted around that I was suicidal. It's like that's not a suicide letter. That's a feeling letter explaining the emotion that I just went through from an appointment. And Giovanni sat next to me when I wrote it. That's why he's got the copy of it. He said he grabbed it and said, "I'll put it in the diary when we find your diary." Um, he was sitting next to me at the dining table. He was sitting right next to me at the dining table when it was written. He was sitting right next to me. Now, this is where I'm so pissed off of him because it's like, oh, he has twisted so much over the years. It's like, what, you think you twisting stuff is going to help? You've made things worse. You've made things so bad for me over the years that with your little bullshit you've done behind my back. I wish I never met him. I really do wish I never met him because he was only out for himself. He was only, like, I never knew him when I was mugged. He wasn't there in the first year of the major recovery because I met him, a year after I was mugged. And it just seemed that all he ever did was look out for himself and see what he could benefit and gain from my misfortune event. He was in a situation when I met him. He met somebody that had money, and I did, and he can't deny that he didn't know how much money I had in the bank because I have bank statements because I used to leave my bank statements on a dining table, which I shouldn't have. It's a habit I've got of leaving all my paperwork sitting at the dining table doing my paperwork. And there is where he's written on the bank statement itself. And the note that he's written is, incorrect. He's written a note. It was like he was looking through my bank statements to try and work out my money, basically. And we're talking about early on in 2009, I just met him. So I would be going off to study at Enmore Design Centre, and he's looking for all my paperwork, looking for all my bank statements. And he was. I had 140,000 in one bank, and why I had 140,000 in that bank is because in 2008 I just sold my investment property, 16 Scott Road in Tamworth. That was rented out for the most of the time. Now, when I sold that for 189,000. Okay, I only brought the place for around about 105,000, and I paid off most of the mortgage. So 189,000. When I paid the rest of the mortgage out, I had a massive, huge chunk of savings left over. That's what was in. And Giovanni was there looking at my bank statements. I noticed on one of the notes that he wrote, he thought it was that I had some payout, and he was circling it, trying to work out where all my money came from. And so I'm like, so since I met you, you were snooping through all of my bank statements. He was. So he knew where I had all this money. It's like, actually, one of them he put TPG or something, payout. I'm like, you fucking nuts. That's from the sale of my house. You can prove that's from the sale of my house. I've got the other bank statements that back that up. Like he was like trying to work out, well, how come this is the guy I've just met is looking at through all of my bank statements. I'm going off to school in 2009. He's not working. He was an unemployed waiter living in the share house in Kensington with nothing, struggling huge amounts of debt, and he meets me and wants to look at what I've got. And he was writing notes on my statements. Okay? And he did. It's all his stuff. It's like, so if anything ever got, so there's no information that came from me since 2009. None. So that's why I've just, all the money to do with, I'm still getting it now, where people think that the huge amount of over 100,000 I had came from somewhere else. And it's like, no, it came from the sale of 16 Scott Road. 16 Scott Road, I owned a place almost outright and I sold it in 2008. Where's all that money gone? You think it came from insurance, which is what these people thought. Giovanni thought it came from insurance payout. He did. And I'm like, I owned an investment property that I just sold before I met you. I owned 16 Scott Road in Tamworth, and I just sold it. So this massive, huge amount of money that I had in my bank, that's where it came from, plus fixed term deposits. And he's there, and I can prove it because that's Giovanni's handwriting on that bank statement. I kept it. So from the moment I met the guy, he was snooping around to see what I had. And because he had nothing. He was a 41-year-old man with nothing. He owned nothing. He had no money, no assets. He was looking at moving back to Adelaide, where he's from. He'd only been in Sydney for about 11 years, and he was living in a share house with nothing, and he couldn't work out why someone younger than him had so much. And that's what it was. Yeah, he moved in with me in my life and destroyed every bit of it since 2009. He did. He did. Like, literally, this is where all the trouble started with Giovanni Consalvo. The trouble started with him. Yeah, like, I had a massive, huge amounts of money, and then I've got, here's a guy I met, and I started having people start making up stories thinking it came from somewhere that it didn't. It came from the fact that I actually owned an investment property in 16 Scott Road, Tamworth, and I sold that. I sold it. And I sold it for $189,000. Okay, and I brought it for around $105,000. Okay, and I paid so much extra on my mortgage, so I had a very little mortgage left to pay out when I sold it in 2008. That's where that came from. But I also had fixed term deposits. And in 2007, I was looking at purchasing another property, which was 52 Lantana Drive in Ettalong Beach, and I put a $28,000 deposit down on it. Well, when I got mugged, I actually got that $28,000 deposit back. I can back up all this. So if I'm actually listening to, I could have backed all this back up 9 years ago. 9 years ago, I could have backed this up. But you know what's gone on? I had to go to America with this bullshit, and they think that even the money that I had came from insurance. It's like, no, this came from my hard work. I told my mother in 2016, I told her in 2015, I'm getting lied about. Can you help correct it? No, not unless I do what she says. Remember this. So my mother is so great, right? I told her the false information was getting spread, and I just need a solicitor to help me go through the paperwork and correct this before this gets out of hand. My mother would only help. No, not unless you do this. You know, that's what her ultimatums were blackmailing me. Basically, it was like, no, I'm not going to do this unless you do this. It's like, that's not what a mother does. I'm like, so this is damaging my life. You know, if there's been one thing after another, it's like, all I need is a solicitor to say, okay, well, here's the facts. Here's a statement from Justin. He can back it up with documents. There's been wrong information. Let's correct this now before this continues. My mother wouldn't do that. No, not unless you do this. Unless you pack up and move here, I'm not going to help. I can't help unless you pack up and move here. That's what it was. It's like, you're fucking serious? So I have to change my entire life and lifestyle around for you to do the right thing. And that's what she was doing. She would rather destroy my life completely. So, you know, because she didn't get what she wanted. That's what she did. So that's when I thought, fuck this. I'm getting lied about. Let's circle back around to the start of this video. Belinda Jeffries and her scumbags friends. And the criminal Ush. Well, I'm getting lied about. I've got these criminals in my back pocket. I worked hard for my money and assets. I didn't deserve to go through what I've just gone through. You lot. And I turned to them and said, I'm getting lied about. Do you think these criminal idiots are like, look, I'm getting lied about. I need a solicitor to help me. I need someone to help back up what I'm saying. Here's the proof. No. It's like, fuck off. I have been loyal to so many people in my life. So many people, and then everybody's jumped. For example, when I left Giovanni, everyone's jumped onto Giovanni. It's like, Giovanni, if you've got to choose between me and Giovanni, and I know what's coming, that little piece of shit, you know, wolf in sheep's clothing is, you want to make this about a choice? Then please choose him, don't choose me, because you've already lost me when you made this a choice. That guy, he's the root of this to start with, to begin with, where he started as soon as I met him in 2008, but as soon as he moved in with me in 2009, looking at everything I had, like going through every bank statement and so forth, and seeing what he could benefit from for his life. Basically, he used me, he used my situation to get ahead. You know, he didn't have to pay for anything. And that's the truth. And I can't believe. So I was treated so badly in America. Because it was believed the money. So the money that I had, that it was believed that came from insurance. I'm like, but it didn't come from insurance or anything like this. This is my money from I worked hard for. This is what I took out of my investment property. This is my money. It come from nowhere else except for what I worked hard for. And same with my assets, my furniture and belongings. I was treated so badly in America that I would treat immigrants the exact same way. In Australia, I'm so anti-immigration. Take your green card to the US and shove it up your fucking ass, I tell you what. I don't want to see one third world nationality piece of shit in my country. I don't want to see one American yank cunt. I don't want to see any British bastard. I want to see Australia be so hard when it comes to immigration laws that we don't support the diversity visa. I want to see this fucked over so much, and thank God Republicans are in at the end of this year, and they will be, and Republicans want to abolish the diversity visa, and I will be right on top of that and say, yes, do it. Because you start cutting down things like the diversity visa, and you're going to start causing trouble when it comes to immigration from all countries. You wanted to take from me and lie about me, which America took over 80,000, which we're talking about my money, okay? They took my assets and belongings, everything I worked hard for. Don't talking about money that was through, I don't know where this delusional bullshit that people thought I had something given from me from insurance. No. I did take out my superannuation, that's true, but it's my superannuation. That's not insurance. After I was mugged, I did take out my superannuation. Yeah, but that's superannuation. That is what I earn when I'm working. But the other large chunk of money that I had, the large chunk of money came from fixed term deposits and an investment property. But you lie about me, which is what immigration did. Everyone else has lied about me. My mother didn't do not one decent thing in her miserable, almost 70-year life. She hasn't done one decent thing. If it was her second husband's family, she would. Oh, damn, she would. It was her daughter's, yeah, definitely. But her son, no. Not unless I do what she says. I'm like, no. So it has cost me, it has cost me my assets, which I've had from the expensive furniture that was from 2005 and 2006. The furniture that was purchased from Rafa and Keller, which was near Booth Street back in those days in Leichhardt, that was in 2005. And there was more furniture, of course, purchased in 2006, but you've got Lawson's auction house that was in Glebe down near the roundabout. They're not there anymore, but they're estate auctions. So my beautiful, and it's expensive. It was beautiful furniture. There was that. There was my savings. There was over 100,000 savings. It cost me my car. Cost me everything. This has cost me everything to be slandered. And here's the thing. This went on for 9 years. 9 years. Yet it could have been resolved in 2016. It did not have to continue for 9 years. If I had been listened to and a good solicitor, which is all I've ever asked for, is a decent solicitor, this, instead of being blacklisted, like I'm blacklisted, completely blacklisted. I thought, okay, you want to destroy my credibility. I know stuff on Anthony Toomer, Belinda Jeffries, and so forth. You want to destroy my credibility? Here we go. Let's do it to everybody, because I've done nothing wrong. But you're going to lie about me, and yeah, I am the victim. The victim of being mugged on my way home from work. I am the victim of going through this injury and these health conditions, but I already had what I had before I was mugged after work. So now you're going to destroy all of my assets, belongings, and savings because you want to lie about me, and this could have been corrected in 2016. Like I asked, it could have been corrected in 2016. Easily. But no one wanted to help with what I was specifically asking for help for. Oh, I love Amanda, my twin sister. Oh, we're just trying to help. I'm like, good, because you keep getting asked exactly what I need help with specifically. Amanda, I've been lied about. I need a solicitor because I can't get listened to. Continuously, I said, he's like, oh, apparently I've got this and apparently that, and I can't look after myself. Like being that was what was said. It's like, get fucked. I need these lies corrected. This is going to damage my life if it's not corrected. Did you see Amanda? Did anyone see Amanda do what I specifically asked her to help with? No. Amanda's Carol's minion. Carol and Marianne's minion that will only do what they feed her to do. So Amanda's she's their puppet on a string. Oh, Amanda, your brother has to do this. Oh, dance puppet, Amanda, dance puppet. Oh, what has Marianne said, Amanda? Oh, dance, Amanda. Oh, what has Carol said, Amanda? Dance. You're their puppet on a string. I was very specific to saying exactly what had gone on. Even Giovanni started lying about me in 2015, and he fucking did. As soon as I said, that's it. There's no reconciliation. I'm not going back with you. We're over. So suddenly the money was cut off for him. So then he's going around my family starting bullshit lies. Oh, and I knew Dad's. He's got his claws in Dad's side. I don't care. Don't care. They look like idiots. Good, at least they've got a lot of assets that they can sell to be sued. You've got equity in your home. Good. At least if it's a civil matter, instead of me going for insurance or my ex-employer, whatever, who actually really this should be reopened for their behaviour. Good. Why don't I just look at going for the fact that you, Fiona Woods, or Jeff Williams, or Joe and Hilly or whatever, why don't I just look at the fact that what you've not stuck up for me and how you guys got involved, and in 2017 how it even got worse, and I'm there going, you're making things worse because now I can't get listened to or believed at all. You want to keep going down this path of causing me damage, and Giovanni's so great. Yeah, then you can have him. You can have him. Seriously, because he's not great. I've wished to God I never fucking met him for the day I met him. Seriously, and I'm talking about from the moment he moved into my place in 2009, I'm like, I can't get rid of this guy. Seriously. I never wanted anything to do with him. It's been trouble since 2009. It's been a continuous, ongoing trouble caused from one person since 2009, and that's the bastard from Adelaide. So do I get what I worked hard for back? Do I get my expensive assets, furniture, cars, my money, everything? Because this was all done deliberately to cause me damage in the last 9 years. Do I get my credibility back and loss of salary? Do I get my health back? Or do I continuously be lied about for 9 years, and it's going to go into the rest of my entire life? Well, it's going to go into the rest of my entire life, isn't it? It's not going to change. So why should I be loyal to anyone else? It's where I love when you've got wakers going, he doesn't catch up. He doesn't go and socialize with people. I'm like, no. There will be nobody in my goddamn life again. There will be not one person. I won't have one friend in my life. I won't have anyone in my life after the last 9 years. And where my loyalty has been with certain people who I've even turned a blind eye to, like Belinda Jeffries' behaviour, there's no loyalty there. There's not going to be anything. There won't be one person in my life ever again after the last 9 years. Because the only person that I really needed to resolve this was a really good solicitor before it cost me damages in assets, belongings and savings. And as for the fucking leftist cunts of this socialist communist bullshit, I honestly can't wait till Trump gets in and destroys these people. I really can't. I don't care. I'm an openly homosexual man, and even if it turns around that it's going to be bad for homosexuals, it's going to send the gay community back into the dark ages, I don't care. I really don't care. How is that going to affect my life? I'm never going to be in a relationship. I'm going to stay single. Don't really care for sex. Have my life destroyed. I would never have a friendship or community in my life ever again after the last 9 years. So how would it affect me? I would just, basically moving forward to death. Anyway, so I don't care. I don't care. Send the progress that the homosexual community has made back into the dark ages, back to the 50s, where, I don't care. I don't care as long as it gets these socialist, communist pieces of shit people. And that's how I feel. You interfered in my assets, belongings and savings and what I worked hard for. Because, the biggest killer in society is poverty. So and that's true. Like, the biggest killer is poverty, but let's all worry about other things. Poverty is the biggest killer. But you put me in that situation, destroying my beautiful, expensive assets that I worked hard for, stopping me getting my job back at Star Casino instead of working with me to say, they're lying about Justin. They lied about Justin. Why can't we get him a good solicitor and help restore his credibility? Why can't we do the right thing? The only thing that he needs, he doesn't need people talking for him. because people talking for him doesn't mean anything. Whatever we believe isn't going to work, he needs a really good solicitor to say, okay, here's the facts. We're going to sit on facts, because they're not going to care. It's not going to go into a mediation or whatever. They're not going to care that, oh, but so-and-so said he was a nice person. They don't give a shit. They just want to look at the facts. This is what he had. It's the money he had. It's how he worked for all. He was mugged. He had these injuries. This is how long it took him to recover from that. This is what, they're just going to look at percentages, figures and percentage. They don't give a shit. They don't care if he was nice, if he's a wanker, if he's polite, if he tips the person down the road. They don't give a shit. They look at the percentage. What's the damage to someone's credibility? How has that affected you through future pain and suffering? And what's the money value of that? This cost you your savings. How much was your savings at this time? Oh, okay. So here, after you sold your investment property, 16 Scott Road, this cost you your health. What figures on your health? It cost you your assets. Okay, what were they? List them. We can look at a value of replacement value of that. That's all they care about. They're not going to care about, oh, but so-and-so said he was really nice when, at high school, and he had this group of friends. They don't care. No one gives a shit. Okay? It's figures and facts. And that's it. And that's reality of the world. So the only thing I needed was, I'm getting lied about. I need a really good solicitor to correct these lies before this gets out of hand and destroys my life. Well, 9 years, it has destroyed my life. Completely destroyed everything I've ever worked hard for. And it went to America, which means it's an immigration issue. So I was treated like this as an immigrant. I will be a cunt to any fucking immigrant in Australia. Whether I'm not racist, but you want to treat me that way, then I would treat you that way. Okay, not because I'm racist. I'm not racist at all. I love, all nationalities. But you want to treat me that way, immigration, then I will treat immigration that way. And I can't wait to get someone that's even tougher than John Howard when it comes on immigration into Australia. And I'll be backing it, going, yes, send them back packing, even if they're from the UK, because I would never, ever support immigration again.